Hi, I'm Josiah Pritchett.
And I'm John Pritchett.
And this is the GameCast. So we just talk about video games and technology.
And this is our second episode. So if you haven't seen our first episode, you should go back, because our first episode started off with a series we're doing on video game systems, Nintendo systems, since Josiah has been alive.
Yeah, so I'll leave a link in the description for the first episode.
And we started last week with a big, long Wii episode. Not a big, long Wii as in a big, long P.
No.
A big, long episode about the Wii.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so this one will probably be even longer because when you're doing the Wii U, there's a lot of things to talk about, and we couldn't show you the Wii because if you saw the episode, you know that I can't show you the Wii because it's broken.
Who broke it?
Me. But I still have my Wii U.
You Plus, do have your Wii U?
I brought a game and the Wii remote, and now let's talk about it.
Well, hang on for a second.
Yeah?
A little teaser.
Yeah?
Later on in the show, we're going to tell you how Joe got this super cool Wii pad with the white buttons
and the really cool bezel.
The white screen bezel on a black Wii pad.
Yeah, and that's why my Wii U looks radical.
All right, so Joe, when did people start talking about the Wii U?
In 2009, there were rumors of a upgraded Wii. So one with 4K, or no, not 4K, HD, Wii, and with Blu-ray.
So Blu-ray?
Yeah.
You said it was HD?
Yep.
And what else did you say?
I didn't say anything else.
Oh, okay.
So basically just like an upgraded version of the Wii. And it wasn't even a new console, just an upgraded version of the Wii. But then Nintendo denied the rumors, and that stopped until later that year, Nintendo put into development Project Cafe, which would eventually become this little guy. Well, actually big.
Pretty big guy.
Yeah.
Really different. Well, kind of a similar shape to the Wii.
Yeah, except
just bigger.
Yeah, and you can't stand it up.
So that was all in 2009.
And then in 2011, in 2010, they announced Project Cafe. They didn't fully reveal what it would look like. Just said, "Hey, working on a new system. It's called Project Cafe." Other than
what did they know about it at that point? What did they tell people?
Nothing. Other than that, I'm pretty sure they said that it would be HD, and yeah.
Okay.
That's all they didn't even say it would be HD. They just said, "Hey, we're making a new system."
All right.
So then in 2011, we got the full reveal of the Wii U, or Project Cafe, and it was then dubbed the Wii U. And so they announced that and they said it would basically be an upgraded Wii, and with a touch screen, and it would have a stylus similar to the one that was released that year, the 3DS.
So they took some aspects of their portables.
Yeah.
Now, when did they announce it? Do you know? Did they announce
2011.
Yeah,
E3.
E3, okay. And who announced it?
Either Satoru Iwata or Reggie Fils-Aimé.
Okay.
So...
did people understand when they announced it right away that this couldn't be played separate from this?
I don't know, honestly.
Because it looks like they took their handheld consoles and their home consoles, and they made something that you could either play at home or away, but that's not right.
That's not right. No. You can't take that anywhere, which is one of the biggest problems with the Wii U.
Yeah, it seems like you should...
portable.
Right, it seems like that should be portable. Why would it be so big if it's not portable?
Yeah. And also, they announced it would prove online connectivity, and finally, Nintendo would finally accept that HDMI is the way to go, and added an HDMI port. There's also an AV port, but most people just use HDMI, including me.
So on the systems up to then, you had to buy like special adapters, right?
And they announced the packing game, and it was called Nintendo Land.
That was the packing game?
Yeah. However, I didn't get mine with the Wii. With the Wii U, I got the special family pack with New Super Mario Bros. U plus New Super Luigi U.
All right. So we had the rumors in 2009. 2010, they made the announcement. When did they release it?
On November 16th, I believe.
Let's see. What do I have here? It says released late 2012.
No, but there's a release date.
Oh, where?
November 18th. So close.
November 18th. You were close.
So close.
Yeah.
And some of the launch titles included New Super Mario Bros. U, Zombie U, which was actually a big title, was disappointing. Assassin's Creed also included ports of Assassin's Creed 3, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, and Mass Effect 3. Also Madden NFL 2013, and Nintendo actually doesn't have Madden anymore, or NHL, which they actually used to have, but for some reason just EA Sports stopped supporting them. No.
So what was the reviews like when it was released?
It was received quite well. People still think to this day that it's a pretty good system, but now that the Switch out, no really point to get it unless you're a collector or there are some games that you want to play.
Right.
No other real reason to get it in 2021.
So the reviews were pretty good, but if I remember right, people didn't understand the name.
The name. Well, we'll get to that later. Now, let's just take a look at the system.
Okay.
So, as you can see, the gamepad is its main selling point.
Yep.
It sort of looks like it's basically just like a normal gaming controller with a touchscreen. So, it included a stylus. This isn't actually the stylus that was included. My cousin let me use this from his DS that there's no charger for. So he just let me use it for my 3DS, which I originally used it for, but I found out it fits way better in the Wii U stylus slot.
So it had a stylus, it had a touchscreen. Now, had Nintendo ever done a controller with 2 analog sticks before?
Yes, the Wii Classic controller, which you could plug into the Wii remote right there.
Right.
And it also included a TV button that would let you control the TV with it, a power button, which would turn it on and off, an AC adapter for charging the gamepad, and that's one of the problems. It has a terrible battery life. Headphone jack right here for actually you could disconnect the HDMI cable just to turn off your TV. So you can play it portably, or not really portably, just like only on the gamepad. And they even added a nice little switch for the volume.
And it had triggers.
Yep, trigger buttons. You have your trusty ZL, ZR, L and R, and there's this thing that I don't know what it does. Looks like a micro SD card.
I think it's a port for doing maintenance on it, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Maintenance port. Did it, is the battery user replaceable?
Probably. And there's also a little LCD screen, or what do you call this? A light to indicate.
Oh yeah, LED.
An LED light to tell you if it's at good battery, on, off, or dead.
And how do you find it for comfort? Is it comfortable because it's big and bulky?
It is a pretty comfortable thing.
Yeah.
And you also have your start select and what was I going to say? Even as a little NFC reader that wasn't actually used until the Amiibo toy line came out a few years later. Also has a little front face camera for making me's and never using that feature again.
Is that all it was pretty much used for?
Yeah, no, it was used for some other things.
And then you have the console part.
Oh, and you also have a microphone here for blowing in for games like Nintendo Land and 3D World right here. So the actual system itself, it's basically just an upgraded version of the Wii. You have your disc port, your thing for actually, you can connect USB stuff for the Pro Controller, and it finally it was wireless for the Wii SD card slot, because actually you had backwards compatibility with the Wii. Any Wii game you can play on this, and you can even use your Wii menu with the entire Wii Shop Channel catalog, until it sadly shut down in 2019.
Yeah, I guess that was enough time to have it going. I see this is a 32 gigabyte one, so it had some onboard memory or storage. Yeah.
This is actually the deluxe model, not the original white model. This is the deluxe model that has more storage. I think 64 gigs. This is the 64 gig model. And you have some ports here. You have your port for you have your AC adapter for powering it, an AV port in case you just didn't have an HDMI cord or you lost it, a sensor here for the Wii remote, and because even without the Wii menu or a Wii game in it, you could still use this.
So that was good. So they tried to build off the success of the Wii.
And the only really hardware difference is that you could find, and the only real difference to the look is that you couldn't stand it up, and you could actually connect a hard drive, an external hard drive, which I have.
Right. Or a USB drive.
I would have, no, that's for this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a USB drive. I would have taken it out, so it would look way less awkward without everything plugged in. But if I took it out, it would probably corrupt some save data.
Right. Okay. So that's yours.
And I also brought up a game, one of my favorite games for the Wii U, and one of my favorite 3D platformers of all time, New Super Mario Bros. 3D World. So much memories with this game. I remember getting it for Christmas one year. Then I had the bright idea to play with it, and I lost it. Then I got another one a few years later, but my mom actually runs a home daycare, and one of the kids snapped the disc in half.
Not cool.
But then, that Christmas, I got another copy, and it was the last one available in Newfoundland. Not the only one that exists in Newfoundland, because I'd be practically rich if that was true. Last one for sale, though.
All right, what do you got up next to talk about?
It's failure.
You think it's a failure?
Well, sales, yes.
Okay.
Sales-wise, it was a failure.
Yeah.
So, how much did it sell?
It sold, let's see. You keep talking, I'll find out how many it sold. You tell why you think it was a failure first.
One, obviously the name, Wii U. That was not a smart branding idea. Like, it just basically sounds like an add-on for the Wii.
Yeah. It only sold 13.5 million.
Ooh, that's not good.
No? Would you like to have 13.5 million?
Well, I mean, like, for a kid like that would be my dream, but in the video game industry, ouch.
Yeah, let's see. So the GameCube sold more units than it. The Nintendo 64, the Nintendo Entertainment Center
System,
the 3DS, the Nintendo Switch, the Game Boy Advance even sold more. That Wii,
was a success. That was a success.
Game Boy Color, Game Boy DS. Those are all the Nintendo ones that sold more. So I guess it kind of was a sales flop.
Yeah, it was a sales flop.
So you think the name didn't help?
The name didn't help. The marketing definitely did not help.
Yeah.
The marketing definitely didn't help. And the second reason the gamepad wasn't the greatest. One, you couldn't take it, like, within 20 feet of the system.
Yeah.
That wasn't cool. Not cool, Nintendo.
You couldn't take it more than 20 feet from the system. Yeah.
The battery life was bogus.
Yeah.
Now they released later models improve the battery life. Still not cool though.
No, not cool. All right, so it was a flop. What else happened during its lifetime?
The president of Nintendo, Satoru Iwata, sadly passed away. He was a great president. He's the guy you can thank for the Wii. He's the guy you could thank for the DS. He's the guy you could thank for a lot of things. Balloon Fight, Earthbound, Pokemon Stadium. And the North American release of Pokemon Red and Blue. You can thank him for all of that. He was amazing. You can also thank him for Nintendo Direct, Club Nintendo, which shut down a few years ago. What else did he do? Iwata Asks, which shut down when he passed away because he'd actually personally interview employees, and it wasn't your like three question Q&A, feel good Q&A session that was really not meant for anything but marketing. It actually explained in-depth stuff about their games.
Right.
So he was awesome, but sadly in early 2015, doctors found a growth in his bile duct, which was a form of cancer. So he luckily he went through a successful surgery that removed the growth before it got bad. But due to his medical issues, he couldn't attend the annual shareholders meeting. Although he did reappear in public eventually, but although he looked a little different, he was noticeably thinner, but he was in good spirits.
Right.
He was Iwata. He was great. And then a few months later, on July 11th, 2015, he sadly passed away.
So that was a dark time for Nintendo.
Yeah, really dark time. And despite all the storms in Typhoon Nenka, over 4,000 people attended his funeral.
Wow, he was beloved.
Beloved by everybody.
Yep.
He will no doubt go down as Nintendo's best president.
So, that was obviously a pretty low point, but there was a few games that came out that were pretty good, right?
Yeah, one in particular that fans were eagerly waiting for was the Untitled Zelda game, or as people called it then, Zelda U, or as we like to call it, The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. It technically started back in 2011 when the Wii U was first shown. It was actually a tech demo called the Zelda HD Experience, and that was the first time people witnessed Zelda in HD. And they asked Nintendo if they were working on a Zelda game, and Nintendo said that they were already planning the first HD Zelda. That got fans hyped. And in 2013, during a Nintendo Direct, Eiji Aonuma, who directed the game and worked on the Zelda game for years, announced that there was a new Zelda game in development. And he couldn't describe it in too much detail, but he said two things. He would change two things. One, you have to play it by yourself, so like Breath of the Wild, it's not multiplayer, but you can still play it with other people. Mm-hmm. And two, that there's a set path. So although Zelda is an open world game, it's really fun to just like run around places, there's still a set path for you. Mm-hmm. And they tried to make it more open world with Skyward Sword, but they just couldn't do that. And yes, the original Zelda games like The Legend of Zelda, Adventures of Link, and A Link to the Past, and even Link's Awakening and the Oracle games, those were all open world games. You could just run around anywhere. Although when they went to 3D with Ocarina of Time, they just couldn't do that anymore for some reason.
They probably couldn't get it all to work.
Yeah. And they tried to make it different with Wind Waker, where you can go to all these islands, but you have to do them you have to complete them in a certain order. But they wanted to not do that anymore. And nobody really knew much about it until we got our first look at the game. Well, it was actually a cinematic, and that wasn't actually used in the final game. But they talked a little about it, and we saw. And then we finally saw Link, but there was speculation that person wasn't Link.
Why? Did he not look like him?
Yeah, that, and he wasn't wearing his signature green tunic. He was wearing a blue tunic. Now, and they were maybe thinking that he was actually a she. And they said that, although Nintendo confirmed that was just a joke and that guy was Link, although they were thinking of having a different character. Maybe even getting Zelda as the main character.
Oh, that'd be different.
Yeah, but they thought, then they came into a new problem. What would Link do? And besides, they had to take into account the balance of the Triforce. So they just decided to have Link as the main character. So then they confirmed that it would release at the end of the trailer in 2015. Later that year, Eiji Aonuma, the director of the game, and Miyamoto, who actually created Zelda, they played the game together at the Game Awards. So that was the first gameplay we saw. It was totally different. Not going to go into detail, because that would take an entire 1-hour video to explain that. But yeah, it was different. And then at the end of the trailer, they confirmed for sure that it would release in 2015. However, earlier that year, Eiji Aonuma, he said while they were finishing the game, the development crew had thought of way more ideas for the game. And with new ideas came even more ideas. So they said that they just pulled it off its release schedule and didn't give it a new one. Because he said that they were working hard to create the ultimate Zelda experience. And then and he also told us to not expect the game at E3 that year. Although then, Reggie Fils-Aimé, former president of Nintendo of America, said at E3 that to expect the game to launch in 2016. Later that year, in the first ever Nintendo Direct not hosted by Satoru Iwata, because as I said, he passed away that year, Reggie Fils-Aimé said that the Wolf League Amiibo would play some sort of role in the new Zelda game, and he confirmed that it would release in 2016. He even did a shot of Link on a horse, and it said 2016. Although that didn't happen, as there were some release documents that were released for Nintendo, and it said the untitled new Zelda game had a 2017 release. Also, Nintendo confirmed it on their Twitter that it would release in 2016, and they even confirmed that it would release on the Wii U and Nintendo's recently announced Project NX they would release on both of them simultaneously. And the reason for this dual release was, one, the game was taking longer than expected, and now they had the chance to do it. And also, it wasn't really going to be using any of the Wii U's unique features, so they could just port it on there. So, and then finally, at E3 2016, they finally lifted the curtain and gave it a full title, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. And there was even a show floor demo where people got to play it for the first time. Now, apparently, it wasn't really complete. I saw a video, and he said who actually got to play it, and he said that the frame rate was really wonky. Mm-hmm. But he said that it was amazing. And then there were rumors that the game was delayed to summer, and they couldn't, or at least for the NX, and that it wouldn't be released on time. But then they finally confirmed the release date for March 3rd, 2017. The launch day of the then titled Switch. So people were thinking, okay, the Wii U version, okay. And when they saw that release date, they're like, okay, the Wii U version was canceled. But at the end of the trailer, they confirmed that the Wii U and Switch, it would go on the Wii U and the Switch at the same day, and it would be the last first-party Wii U title. And then we got it, and great job, Nintendo. You did great.
So, the Breath of the Wild changed the way open world games. Yeah, I mean, it was huge, and the critics called it a masterpiece. And I see that Metacritic, it's 97 out of 100. Wow. Destructoid gave it 10 out of 10. Edge gave it 10 out of 10. EGM gave it 9.5 out of 10.
You mean IGN?
No, EGM. Oh. IGN gave it 10 out of 10 too. It was loved. People said it would change the way open world video games were made forever, and I think it has.
Yeah. Although the game is amazing, it's not considered the best Zelda game or even the best game of all time.
But we'll get into that at another time.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned something we're going to save for the next episode because this one's run on for a while. You mentioned the Nintendo NX.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the working title of what became the
Nintendo Switch.
So.
We forgot to tell them.
What? Oh, we're going to do it now. So we're going to talk about the Switch next episode. But remember last episode we talked about when some kid that lived in this house jammed 3 CDs into a Wii and broke it?
Oh, then.
Tell them how this became a black controller with white buttons.
And a white bezel.
In a white bezel.
And a white.
Yeah, pouch. So tell them how it happened.
Okay. I was playing New Super Mario Bros. U. I love that game. And I was like raging, which I do all the time when I'm playing video games. Most people rage quit. I just rage. And keep playing. And then I had the bright idea. I got so angry that I legit got my Pro Controller, smashed my screen, and I went into my mom's daycare crying because I said, I broke my Wii U. The good thing was I didn't break my Wii U. I only broke the gamepad, and it was only a cracked screen that could be fixed. So my dad, so you probably already know this, but that my dad worked at Target, and when it closed down, he got to keep some of the stuff, including the Wii U that was on display and its screen.
Well, we bought it. We didn't get to keep it.
Oh, you bought it? So, my dad bought it, and then, so yeah, that's actually how I play my Wii U. Sometimes I go upstairs when I'm, like, playing, like, first-person shooters that Madeline can't see. So, or that's one of the daycare kids. So yeah, my dad luckily also kept the system. And
so we needed a new screen. So we took apart one of them.
The gamepad.
And we put some of the components from one into the other. So we thought it looked pretty cool because we really just needed a new screen.
But
we thought, well, why don't we change the buttons out and everything? So we ended up with a white and black custom Wii pad.
Yeah.
All right, so next episode we'll talk about
the Switch.
The Switch.
One of Nintendo's biggest successes.
All right, thanks for watching.
Yeah, remember to like, subscribe, and share this with your friends, and I'll see you next time.
Okay, bye-bye.